This Thursday from 7 o'clock, my free-to-play poker tournament is back on GG Poker. There's a share of $1,000 tournament dollars on the line and a $100 cash bounty on my head if you can knock me out. And as a big thank you to everyone who plays week in, week out, we are giving the top 100 places a satellite ticket for the chance to qualify for a $25 million prize pool in the WSOP online main event. If you want to play, all you have to do is click the link in the description below, download and install the GG Poker app, create your account, go to tournament, search True Geordie, and hit register. And when you sign up to GG Poker, they will match your first deposit in your account up to $600. So I'll see you this Thursday, 7 o'clock. Don't be late. It's the True Geordie free roll only on GG Poker. This Saturday just gone, Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois, a fight in which one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, Oleksandr Usyk, was expected to comfortably beat Dubois. But there was something that happened that wasn't in the script, which was Daniel Dubois landing a body shot / low blow, depending on what you think it was, which put Oleksandr Usyk down immediately. This is where the controversy comes in because the referee ruled it a low blow and not a legitimate knockdown. And Oleksandr Usyk was then given 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, I can't remember what it was, to regain himself as is protocol for a low blow. He then came back, won the fight quite easily, and a lot of people on the side of Dubois are saying that was a legitimate body shot. This guy should be the new heavyweight champion of the world. So I want to go and get some data, and hopefully we can all come to the same conclusion. So I'm going to base it on the rules themselves, the video footage, his immediate reaction to when he took the shot. Does that line up to other body shots? Is it in any way different? What his previous character tells us, like what do we really think Usyk would do given all of the footage we've had of this guy boxing for over a decade? And then what happened in the fight? Did he show more of a weakness there? Was that a legitimate body shot, or was it so low that when he was landed with other body shots, it didn't impact him? Because if the damage was done there, it should be repeatable. So the first thing I'm going to bring up is a referee. So this is a clip of a referee explaining during a boxing match what is legal, what is not.
Is the foul line? That is the foul line. Any blows on the belt are fouls.
So he says any blows on the belt are fouls. I've heard boxers say otherwise. I was talking to BJ Flores, the guy who fought Tony Bellew, trained Jake Paul, very high-level boxer. And he said, look, on the belt is considered generally okay. But obviously the referee's saying differently there. I'm going to try and look up the laws. According to Google, an illegal low blow in boxing is when someone lands a punch below the opponent's waist. So generally the belly button is considered the midpoint, and below the belly button is low blow. It doesn't have to be a cock shot. It can be just below the belly button, and that's considered illegal. However, some boxers, as you see with Tyson Fury and many others, they have them really high up. That's because he wants to hide his belly. It's not for anything sinister. He's got a massive gut.
This, not this.
He's saying this is fine, but that's where he had his shorts, is what he's insinuating, right around the belly button area. So if it's below that, it's a low blow. And the issue is sometimes you don't actually have to hit someone right on the dick to hurt the crown jewels. Like, because of where your cup sits when you're boxing, someone can sort of catch you near there and it can drive the cup right up into your fucking insides. And it ain't a nice feeling. And I do think some people aren't really accounting for that. Like, some people are saying, well, it didn't hit him in the balls, so he should be fine. Like, it doesn't have to be bang on. It's a weird conversation, innit? But when your junk's getting fucking moved around, it ain't nice. So as you can see, the waistline is about here, and the thumb is pretty much on the waistline, and then these 4 knuckles are below the waistline. So if this was around here and all of the knuckles were landing on the waistline, I think it would be more debatable. But, you know, this is pretty much, you know, a low blow by what we're reading. Now, I'm not saying it's decided. I'm still open-minded here. But on this photograph, and yes, is his dick probably further down? Yeah, but does that mean he couldn't have impacted it in any way? No. That could easily have hurt him.
Oh, c'est même pas un coup bas.
C'est pas si bas que ça, effectivement.
Non, c'est pas un coup bas.
Even in slow motion, that's not nice. It's not bang on the balls, but it's lower than the waistline there, for me anyway. But again, I remain open-minded. Now, this is a picture someone's made of Usyk after the fight being interviewed, where you see His trunks are just below the belly button. There are other photographs which show that they are slightly on the belly button or a little bit over. Tony Bellew has chimed in saying anything below the navel is classed as a low blow in boxing. That is not my opinion. That's a fact, and that's the rules. Again, Usyk pictured here with his belly button out for all the lads. Someone underneath has actually posted a picture of Usyk, but you can see there, even there, it's just on the belly button line, right? So that belt line looks about, what, 4 inches? And the fact that only Dubois' thumb landed on the belt itself and the rest were underneath pretty much tells me that that, by the law, is a low blow. So this is the point of impact. Yeah, I mean, if his belly button is, say, here, I mean, the majority of that punch is well below that. Based on the rules, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not trying to be a defender of Usyk. I'm just trying to find the truth. So this is another picture from the night where Dubois threw a lower shot again, different shot. And it's a straight right at the balls, basically, you know. So Usyk was complaining about this through the night, and a lot of people are suggesting that it was gamesmanship. It was a way, because he didn't like the body shots, to get out of this, and that he's a cheat. You know, this photograph shows how low Dubois was punching. I think people are being a bit harsh on Usyk, in my opinion. I know he was dropped once from a body shot in the amateurs, so that there is a weakness there, and people are acting like we've discovered something now. Aha, that's it. That's how you beat him. And after the fight went on, Dubois kept targeting the body. It did nothing, because a lot of those punches were legal shots and he was able to take them. I'm not saying he loved them, but if you've annihilated someone from a body shot, there for the rest of that fight, they're going to be vulnerable to the body. But he was able to take the other body shots, in my opinion, because the previous shot was much lower and the other shots that were landing, aside from this one and a couple of others probably, were legal. And if you've damaged someone that much, that weakness doesn't just go away after a few minutes of sitting down. I know people are saying he complained about AJ's low shots as well. That's because when boxers are throwing body shot after body shot and trying to target it, sometimes you do throw the odd low one. I just don't think it's fair to say that Usyk is a cheat based on this one thing, where clearly, by the rules, not by what I'm saying, it was a low shot. So there's quite a lot of people on YouTube suggesting Dubois should now be heavyweight champion of the world. The referee should not have gave Usyk that time to recover from the low blow. He should have started counting to 10 and he should have been counted out. And that's what would have happened automatically. They know the future. They know what would have happened. To say automatically that Usyk wouldn't have gotten up is bullshit. And that's how you know someone, what side they're on, that they're not being impartial, that they're claiming they know exactly what Oleksandr Usyk would have done. And for those people, well, Daniel Dubois actually had a chance to go and finish the job. You've heard him. Get him out of there then. Usyk comes back after a low blow. If you're going to beat him, you'd have beat him anyway. Go and beat him. You've got your chance. He's wounded. Smash him. But he didn't. Why didn't he? Because he can't. Factually cannot do it. 100 fights out of 100, Usyk wins this. Because Usyk outclassed this man and outlanded this man in every single round. There was not a single round where Daniel Dubois landed more punches. Before the low blow, after the low blow. Even in the round of the low blow, it didn't matter. So these people automatically signing off as Daniel Dubois would have been the world champion. It's just absolute bullshit. And that's not because I'm not impressed with Daniel Dubois or I didn't think he fought well. I think he fought great. And one last thing I will say on the low blow / body shot debate is when boxers get hit with a body shot, a lot of the time, it takes a second to register. You've seen it where they sort of walk backwards and then they take the knee and they're like, oh, fuck, it's setting in now. Oh, I really feel it now. That's a trademark of a body shot, right? You've all seen it. This man went down immediately. Now, with a nut shot, that's pretty consistent. In terms of his reaction, I think it's quite a believable one. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could. And I'm not saying I know for sure, I don't. And no one ever will. Only Usyk will know. But that is also evidence worth considering. In terms of the fight itself, I mean, it was a pretty standard Usyk masterclass in my opinion. The lead hand doing loads of damage for Usyk. Too quick for Dubois. But what I will say is Dubois really gave a great account of himself. Like, he was in this fight and he was throwing some sneaky little shots in there. He was letting Usyk get a little overconfident at times and giving him something to respect. That's on the belt. Ooh, fucking hell, it looks cockshot. Jesus. What I'll say for Dubois is, he actually looked more threatening than Anthony Joshua did. I never ever looked at Anthony Joshua in any of those rounds and thought, you're really going to hurt Oleksandr Usyk here. But Dubois looked more dangerous. I like the strategy of waiting for him to come in range, then throw. Instead of trying to be in that mid-range toe-to-toe like AJ was trying to, of competing for speed and competing for foot position with a southpaw. Dubois sort of gave some of that ground up and went, right, well, when you come in, I'm going to fucking hit you then. And I think that wasn't a bad strategy. Mind you, some of those body shots were hurting Usyk. This is what we can give Dubois great credit for, is he may have exposed a little bit of a weakness there in Usyk that we already knew about, but he did a better job than Anthony Joshua did. But like everybody who fights Usyk, when you're fighting him, he's playing so many games with you in there that it's not just your legs getting tired, your body getting tired, your brain is getting tired. People aren't used to thinking on the level of this guy, and it's taxing. The calories are getting used up big time. And you see with Tony Bellew, Anthony Joshua, and Dubois, by 6-7 rounds, those games start taking effect and you are overthinking, you're confused, he's coming at you from all different angles, and it wears you down. And eventually he shuts you down. And I think AJ has sacrificed his energy on staying with Usyk and not being humiliated. Whereas Dubois and Bellew really did try and win more. And because of that, they got knocked out for it. But that's the only way you're ever going to beat a Usyk. It's like the Batman movie. On The Dark Knight Rises, he has to jump from one cliff to another. When he's holding on to safety and he's got the rope around him, he never makes it to the other side because he's playing it safe. You're never going to win by playing it safe. You have to remove the rope and go, if I die, I die, but that's how I'm going to get there. And that's what Dubois and Bellew did. Credit to them. You can't beat him by staying with him, especially not when you're fucking a stone or two heavier than him. His cardio will outlast yours. And losing against Usyk at the age Dubois is, what's he, in his mid-20s? Usyk's got 10 years on him. This is a great lesson for him. If he takes the lessons he learns from this fight, this could make him a much better fighter in the future. He should not consider this, I'm fucked, I'm done, I lost the heavyweight title fight. This is what Canelo had with Floyd Mayweather, where you're in there with a genius and you realise the levels. And I hope he takes from this, because that lad did really well. And it's funny because you look at these shots, right? It's not like they're major power punches. He does not have the power of other heavyweights, but he's the master of disguising it and sneaking those shots in. And it's the ones you don't see that hurt you the most because you're not bracing for it. And just like AJ at the end of the first fight at Wembley, it just built up and built up. And this would have happened to AJ if that had gone any longer. That's what I love about Usyk, is he hasn't got the genetic gifts of these other big, massive heavyweights. But what he does have is genius. He is as smart as they come. He outworks them in the gym. He's always fitter than everyone he fights. That's hard work. And people were saying he's slowing down later in the fight. Absolutely. Do you know what else was happening? Dubois was slowing down. People were saying the same thing about the Bellew fight. Oh, he's slowing down. Bellew slowed down. Same with AJ. He plays games in there and he exerts energy knowing my gas tank will be affected by this, but yours will lose more than mine does because I'm fitter than you, because I've done the work. And that's how he breaks you. He always throws more punches. Always. And I love the way he gave these words of encouragement to Dubois at the end, because he is a true champion. He's not like a lot of these other fighters who they don't give a shit about anyone but themselves. He really is a proper champion. And like AJ was, to be fair, AJ was a real champion, you know. He handled himself with class. And Usyk does that and even more. I think some factors did impact the performance as well. Like, it was pissing down in Poland and the ring is definitely slippery. And if you're a footwork-based fighter like Usyk is, that's a major problem to be in there having. The funny thing about this fight is a lot of people, the classic Tyson Fury army, it's, well, that shows Tyson Fury would beat him. Oh, well then, why make the fight then? In the history of boxing, there's never been an upset, has there? There's never been someone who was expected to win and didn't win. That's never happened before. Do you know what? I don't know why we even organise fights, because we all know what's going to happen, right? Pointless. The way Tyson Fury has manipulated his army of fans, it's really sad to see. It's sad that grown men get duped so easily into just giving Tyson Fury a win that he's not even had. Meanwhile, he's fought Chisora, who's finished, White, who's finished, and looked terrible in that fight. And now he's fighting a guy who's never had a boxing match in his life. And we're saying that because Dubois, who is a young, hungry heavyweight, who's got way more juice left in the tank than Chisora or Dillian White, and is a little wrecking machine, because he did well against Usyk, and by that I mean lost nearly every fucking round. But because of that happened, Tyson Fury beats him no problem. You might be right. I don't care if you're right or you're wrong, but that doesn't mean you can just let Fury off and go, well, he's the greatest of all time anyway. He's the champion. To be the man, you have to beat the man. to the quote Ric Flair. And Tyson Fury is not the man. You've got one man over here who's legitimately defending this title, and one man who's piss farting around with a guy who's never had a boxing match in his life. Tyson wants all of the credit and not doing any of the work. If you look at him in this At Home with the Furies, he sat there pissed up, right? And he's watching AJ versus Usyk. I beat both of them on the same night. Yeah? Well, then fucking do it. And that was a year and a half ago, and he hasn't fought either of them. But he has fought Chisora for the third time. Wake the fuck up, man. You're brainwashed. Fucking grown men brainwashed by a man who's fucking probably read 2 books in his whole life. It's just when you hear the Fury fans, imagine if that was Fury. Well, we're going to have to, won't we? Because we'll never actually say it. So all we can do is imagine. So one problem with the actual card that I've got is there was a fighter who came out and gave this message after he was injured during the fight.
Right, so after the fight, I have a cut here and I have a cut on my head, and also this is swollen up, and I told them I need this stitched, and they told me in the event that they can't do it because they don't have the equipment for it, and that I need to go to a hospital to do it because they have the equipment there. I said, okay, so let's go. And they said, no, we can't take you to the hospital. I said, why? They said, yeah, because the ambulance is only for life-threatening injuries. And I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? And they told me that I need to get to the hospital by myself. So basically, I just fought my fucking heart out, and then they just, you know, like, oh, thank you, Anthony, so much. All right, get the fuck out of here because, you know, we don't care anymore.
It's not a good look, is it? You know what I mean? Like, these lads are coming in and giving their blood, sweat and tears. Look after them. Do better to the promotional company. It's not good enough. One thing that was nice to see was that Prince Nassim Hamed, his son, fought on the card. I mean, they gave him what looked like a guy who was an extra in Harry Potter to beat the fuck up, but it was decent. You know, it was nice to see the legacy continued. For me, Prince Naz was probably one of the first fighters that made me fall in love with boxing. And if you haven't ever seen Prince Naz, well, that man was one of the most entertaining fighters of all time. Look at him. He makes Floyd Mayweather look understated, I tell you. There's Showman, and then there's Prince Naz. The most confident and most destructive puncher at a lightweight, man. He was so fun. This is particularly one of my favourite fights of his because anything can happen. You could take a shot, you could get up and knock this motherfucker out within a round. So here's a little clip of Prince Naz in a war for his world title in New York, and he got dropped, and you're thinking to yourself, fuck me, this is it now. This is a real fight. And immediately comes back swinging like a fucking animal. Look at this, man. I'll leave you with that one because some of you lot, if you've never heard of Prince Nassim Hamed, you're in for a treat. Go and search him after this because he's just one of the greatest fighters to watch I've ever seen in my life. I'm a huge fan, and I really wish his son the best of luck because it's a hell of a legacy to have on your shoulders, and I think Naz has done the right thing. There was an interview with him where he goes, look, my son isn't me. No one's me. There'll never be another me, which is just the most Naz thing you've ever heard. But good night of boxing, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of everything in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.